Where, I do not know, but apparently there is afoot the opinion that there are too many people on this planet. Now, is this just the opinion of the people that put these stones together? I think not. There have been other people who have said similar things. If you go to search a big meeting that they had on May 25th, 2009, there was a series of meetings, actually, on the very subject of overpopulation. And there was a lot of very rich and powerful people that attended this particular meeting, including people, like Bill Gates, David Rockefeller, Warren Buffett, George Soros, Ted Turner, Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and even Oprah Winfrey. So they, a London Times report did confirm the gathering, and ABC ran a story on it, but they focused on how wonderful their efforts were to help those in need. Clearly, previous comments by some of these folks were about population reduction. I'll just give you a couple of them. Ted Turner here had said, right now, there are just too many people on the planet. A total world population of 250 to 300 million people, or a 95% decline from present levels would be ideal. There's always the famous comment by Prince Philip in August of 1988. He said, if I were reincarnated, I would wish to be returned to Earth as a killer virus in order to contribute something to solve overpopulation. Margaret Sanger, founder of Planned Parenthood, and also Women in the New Race, she said the most merciful thing that a large family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. Overpopulation once again. Seems to be a running issue with a lot of this. And when you take a look at these stones, the idea that 500,000 people or 500 million people would be the extent of our population definitely throws us back quite a way. And there's been a tremendous amount of movies and specials, books such as Stephen King's The Stand. You'll notice two here. There we go. That would be Hindi. That's one of the languages. Okay. I believe that would be Hindi or... Okay. You'll see some of these different languages. What you have Hindi, you have Russian, you have Chinese, you have Spanish, English, of course, Hebrew, those are a few, and let's see. Then you also have Swahili, believe it or not. And interesting enough, Latin's not on here. You do have on the top there, that's the very top of the capstone. You do have that, and that looks like Egyptian hieroglyphics. If you go through that, you'll probably see there's also Babylonian cuneiform, which looks pretty unusual. There you go. Anyway, the first instruction, maintaining humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, definitely deals with too many people on this planet, or in the opinion of some, they do believe that is definitely a problem. When there are conflicts between what people say, suspecting hidden agendas, is no evidence of theory, but actual conspiracy. The degree of secrecy to which these meetings were surrounded, the ones on May 25th, 2009, is also another indicator. But we knew about it, so it's not so secret, right? Well, according to WorldNet Daily, the informal afternoon session was so discreet that some of the billionaires' aides were told they were at security briefings. As to the secrecy, the guest said they wanted to speak rich to rich without worrying about anything they said, and if it would end up in the newspapers, painting them as an alternative world government. Certainly, this small cabal of folks is tremendously influential, and when these small cabals do meet throughout history, things have happened. That, I believe, is Swahili. There we go. And they all say the same thing. I'll go through all 10 of these here in just a moment. Sometime in 1908, there was another small cabal that met on Jekyll Island in Georgia. The result was the reformation of the central bank concept in the United States of America. We now know it as the Federal Reserve. It is not part of the U.S. government. It is a separate entity, although it does work with the U.S. government. It's a pretty complex situation, and certainly people like Ron Paul have tried to put a little light on it. Nonetheless, Those people held their meeting in secrecy and have never been audited, and they dominate the value of the very dollar that you do spend. As you can see, these inscriptions are geared to be like a Rosetta Stone, if you will. Ted Turner was somebody else, as I did mention. He had some interesting things to say about civilization and also global warming. And he believes civilization will eventually break down and living conditions will become bad. He said this on numerous occasions. Nonetheless, he figures the global warming, it'll be, and he said this in 2008, it'll be 8 degrees hotter in 30 to 40 years. So that's not too far away. Some of us may be here to see if he's right. Okay? Let's go to the second instruction. There's Cyrillic, which is also Russian. And you can kind of get an idea there how that works. The second instruction is whoa. Sorry about that, folks. We're making adjustments as we go. The guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. That's translated from Cyrillic, of course. Could that possibly bring up the idea of eugenics? This was something that was done in the United States to a degree, exported to Germany before World War II, and then brought back into the United States apparently through some of the scientists that came through what was called Operation Paperclip. For those of us that are familiar with that, it was an operation to get those scientists and also some of the intelligence people that worked on the Eastern Front to give us information about the Soviet Army's troops and dispositions. That'll be another talk show in the future. Again, a reminder, call-ins 314-714-4200. Now, the second instruction, yes, it could mean something about eugenics, improving fitness and diversity. That's a wonderful idea, improving it, but how naturally are you going to do that? That's the official explanation. The Guidestone rule is apparently suggesting the management of reproduction, period. And that would also mean, again, population management. The third rule on the Georgia Guidestones is unite humanity with a living new language. We've got a lot of languages right now. How successful do you think it would be to learn an entirely new one and force everybody to learn that one language? In real ancient times, I think you'll see Chinese behind me, but in real ancient times, it was said that there was only one language. And then the next civilization lost that. And here we are today with as many languages as, well, how many? How many is enough? Nonetheless, making people all speak one language could be a little difficult. Number 4 on the Georgia Guidestones is ruling passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. The explanation, according to our established guide here, is faith here may be used in a religious sense. What you're seeing right now is the breakdown of the various, let me get this out of the way here. You might be able to see it a little bit better. There we go. I can maybe give you a tour while it's behind me here. It's completed March 22nd, 1981, as you can see. And you can see the 4 different, and the physical data. We haven't even gone into the physical data. Oh my gosh. Well, you can see it right there. There was a base that was built, and these Georgia Guidestones, these blocks, are 16 feet high. 16 feet high, 4 inches thick, and 1 foot, 7 inches thick. They weigh 21 tons. The capstone is 9 feet, 8 inches long, and weighs around 12 tons. So obviously some pretty heavy equipment would be needed to move all that. The base support stone boosts the height of the construction to a total of 19 feet, 3 inches. And the project was, Elberton said this is probably the most difficult project that they had to that date. I don't know if they've done anything even remotely like it since then. But the entire weight of the Georgia Guidestones, they figured to be right at about 119 tons, complete with the astronomical features that you saw earlier, although it was a little bit cleaned up before. But this is actual video that was shot, apparently, well, it must have been a little bit of a rainstorm. I don't recall what the weather was in 2002 when I visited. I know when I woke up it was nice and dry and sunny, beautiful day, as you can probably see. It's a beautiful monument to see because it actually just kind of, the sunshine, when it is shining, it does glance off the rocks and give it kind of a rose-colored texture during the early morning hours. The fifth guide on the Guidestones is to protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. And there we go. Well, we've got a breakdown here of the languages. You've got the English and the Spanish. You've got Russian and Chinese. And I think it'll move around here. If it does, we'll see the others. Okay, Arabic and Hebrew and Swahili and I think Hindi. There we go. So those are the 8 languages. Hebrew, Arabic are together. English, Spanish are together. Russian, Chinese are together. And Swahili and Hindi are together on one block on opposing sides. And as you can see there, that block was totally undisturbed, by the way. The whole thing was totally undisturbed, but in taking a look at YouTube last night, I did find out that there was a gal on YouTube that claimed to have gone down there, probably in the last year or two, and after seeing certain videos, she felt pretty disturbed by some things and what the Guidestones could mean. And she went down there and attempted to actually dig up around the Guidestones the time capsule. She didn't quite make it. She had several people with her, and you could see where she dug up around that plaque that's on the bottom there to get to the time capsule. But apparently that was a little bit bigger project than she was ready to deal with, and she didn't quite make it. It is 6 feet, they say, below. Wanted you to also get an idea. This is just in a big open field, too. This is not anything that is at all secluded. Okay? Let me move some of these down here so you can get an idea. Or in an urban area. You're in a very rural area here. The cows are munching on the grass near the monument, and it's simply a beautiful day for vegetation. So, which is kind of interesting in the selection of Elberton. Just something interesting also about Elberton location. As you can see, there's the sun hitting it, and you can see it does kind of change its hue, and does kind of give you that whole Stonehenge kind of feeling. I was told they did have plans to build other stones all the way around in a big circle, so it would be a lot more like Stonehenge and probably have other astronomical applications. But apparently the funding ran out after this. For whatever reason, we don't know much about the people that ordered it. All we know is about the people that put it up. The Guidestones, by the way, they're located in what's called Elbert County. It has highways 17, 72, 77, 79, and 172 as major roads in the area. The stones are constructed on an area about 700 feet above sea level. That was part of the Double 7 Ranch. You will see the Guidestones about 700 feet off of Highway 77, and 7 miles from what the local Cherokee Indians say is the center of the world. So those are some interesting aspects of the Georgia Guidestones. I believe this must be the Spanish interpretation. There we go. Hope you're enjoying this. If you do have any comments or questions, again, that number is 314-714-4200, and you can always email Patrick at iWatchRadio.com. Let's go on to the actual 6th Oh, I take it back. We were still working on number 5, weren't we? Protecting people and nations with fair laws and just